The quantum awakening doesn't wait for you to finish this video. It doesn't wait for your understanding or belief. It starts now, right here, in this moment where your attention meets these words. That meeting point between awareness and focus is the ignition, the signal to your quantum field that change has already begun. You can sense it already. A subtle pull in your chest, a quiet stillness behind your thoughts, that tiny shift that makes this moment feel charged, different, meaningful. That's not imagination. That's energy reorganizing. That's your consciousness responding to the frequency of awareness. You didn't just stumble here by accident. Nothing about this moment is random. Every thought, every impulse, every coincidence that led you here has been aligning for longer than you realize. Your quantum field has been preparing for this exact encounter. It brought you here not for more information, but for activation, a direct transmission of recognition. You're not here to learn something new. You're here to remember what you've always known, that you are not limited, that your potential is not small, that the reality you experience bends and forms around the structure of your focus. The reason this shift begins immediately isn't mystical. It's mechanical. Consciousness operates by the same quantum laws that shape the smallest particles of existence. Observation alters outcome. Focus collapses potential into tangible form. Attention directs energy. Every time you choose to be present rather than distracted, you're rewriting your field. Every time you choose growth instead of resistance, you're collapsing new possibilities into form. And by watching this right now, by giving this moment your full awareness, you've already begun changing what's possible for you. Your old reality isn't falling apart. It's reorganizing. What looks like confusion or loss is your field adjusting to match a higher frequency of choice. The patterns that once held you in limitation can't stabilize at the vibration you're stepping into. That's why it feels like old identities are breaking, old versions of you dissolving. That's not chaos. That's clarity forming. You're being recalibrated to match what you've been asking for. Growth requires space. Manifestation requires release. And everything leaving your life now is making space for what's been waiting to arrive. You've felt it before, the strange acceleration. The way time sometimes moves differently when you're deeply aware. The way opportunities seem to appear right when you finally decide to trust. That isn't luck. That's your energy syncing with the field. When your thoughts, emotions, and intentions align, the universe doesn't need time to respond. It mirrors instantly. That's why the inner work matters more than outer effort. Because when your frequency is clear, reality has no choice but to match it. You've noticed how quickly things manifest lately. You think of someone and they appear. You focus on a goal and doors start opening. The same acceleration applies to fear, doubt, and resistance. Whatever energy dominates your awareness amplifies. That's why awareness is power. You can't control everything that happens, but you can control how long you stay aligned with what weakens you. Every time you shift from worry to intention, from frustration to gratitude, from doubt to trust, you're literally reprogramming your field. There's a reason this moment feels bigger than usual. Your readiness is peaking. You've spent years building momentum through every challenge, every practice, every lesson. Every setback was training. Every disappointment was redirection. Every unanswered prayer was timing. The universe wasn't punishing you. It was aligning you. Every delay was refinement. Every loss was making you lighter for what's next. This is why you're here now, because you're finally at the vibrational level where manifestation becomes natural. The universe has always been responding to you, but now your awareness of that response is expanding. You're no longer moving through life unconsciously reacting. You're realizing that you are both the observer and the creator, that your thoughts are not random noise but blueprints, that your emotions are not weaknesses but navigational signals. Every time you raise your emotional state, you raise your frequency. And every time your frequency rises, reality reshapes around that signal. Think of how many times you doubted your path only to later realize that every detour was divine, that every pause had purpose, that every door that closed forced you to discover a better one. You're seeing now that there was never randomness, only resonance. Your quantum field doesn't respond to effort. It responds to coherence. And coherence comes when your intention, belief, and emotion finally match. When you decide not just mentally but energetically that you're ready. That's what's happening now. You've reached that point of readiness. The field recognizes it. The universe mirrors it. Your entire system, mental, emotional, energetic, is aligning with the reality you've been calling in. You might feel it as pressure. You might feel it as excitement. Either way, it's activation. That tension you feel in your chest isn't anxiety. It's expansion pressing against the edges of your old identity. You're not breaking down. You're breaking open. Everything you've learned about manifestation was preparing you for this. Vision boards, affirmations, meditations, scripting, they were training your focus. They were helping you practice deliberate awareness. Because manifestation isn't about wishing. It's about frequency precision. When your thoughts and emotions are out of sync, you create interference. When they align, reality reorganizes instantly. The field doesn't respond to words. It responds to energy, and energy doesn't lie. That's why so many people chase manifestation and feel frustrated. They repeat affirmations they don't believe. They visualize outcomes they secretly doubt. The field reads vibration, not vocabulary. You can't trick it. You can't fake coherence. You can only embody it, and embodiment happens when belief and energy merge into certainty. When what you desire stops feeling like fantasy and starts feeling inevitable. That's the quantum shift, when desire turns into recognition. You're entering that state right now. Your awareness is expanding beyond wanting and into knowing. You're remembering that you were never separate from the energy you've been trying to attract. That abundance isn't something you get. It's something you allow. That love isn't something you find. It's something you become. That purpose isn't something you search for. It's what naturally flows when you stop resisting yourself. You are the source, not the seeker. What's happening in your field now is irreversible. Once awareness expands, it doesn't contract. Once consciousness awakens, it can't pretend to be asleep. You'll notice small changes first. The way you react differently to old triggers. The way negativity feels heavier and harder to tolerate. The way alignment feels like peace instead of effort. These are signals of your new frequency stabilizing. You're not chasing energy anymore. You're embodying it. This is where true growth begins, when you stop trying to become and start allowing yourself to be. When you stop needing to prove your worth and start recognizing it as intrinsic. When you stop asking for signs and start realizing you are the sign. You've been waiting for permission to expand. But expansion was waiting for you to stop asking. Because the quantum field doesn't respond to waiting. It responds to declaration. You've already made that declaration. You made it by showing up here. By being curious enough to listen. By choosing presence instead of distraction. You may think this is just a video. But on a quantum level, it's synchronization. Your frequency matched this message. That's why it found you. That's why you didn't scroll past. You're not watching by accident. You're aligning by intention. And now something new is building. A subtle charge in your energy. The feeling that something significant is happening right now, even if you can't explain it. That's not coincidence. That's recognition. Your consciousness is remembering its creative power. The power to direct focus, shape energy, and manifest reality from within. The quantum awakening doesn't begin later. It began the second you decided to stay. You've entered the shift. The question now isn't whether it's real. It's whether you'll keep participating. Because every moment from here forward is a choice between resistance and resonance. Between fear and flow. Between remembering and forgetting. Between contraction and expansion. The field is ready. Your energy is ready. The process has started. Welcome to part 1 of your awakening. You didn't just find this. You were guided here by alignment. You didn't just listen. You activated something ancient and waiting inside you. The quantum awakening has begun, and you are already living its first proof. The quantum field doesn't wait for permission. It doesn't wait for worthiness or perfect timing. It waits for alignment. The moment you decide with full conviction that you are ready, the field responds instantly. Not when you see evidence, not when things look possible, but in the instant of true decision. That is when reality starts bending around your new frequency. You've experienced this before. That moment when hesitation drops and something inside you says yes. Not from fear, not from force, from knowing. And right after that, things begin moving fast. Opportunities appear. People call. Circumstances shift. That's not luck. That's alignment becoming visible. Every reality you could ever live already exists as frequency patterns in the quantum field. Infinite versions of you. Infinite timelines. Each one vibrating at a slightly different level of consciousness. The moment you shift your frequency through choice, emotion, and focus, you move into resonance with the version of you that already lives that reality. You don't create it from nothing. You tune into it. You match it. You allow it. That's why your energy matters more than your actions. Actions follow energy. Energy leads results. You've been taught to push harder, work longer, and chase faster. But manifestation doesn't respond to exhaustion. It responds to clarity. The universe doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you're aligned with. If you vibrate from lack, you'll keep seeing lack. If you vibrate from fullness, everything expands. When you say you want something but secretly believe it's out of reach, the field hears the belief, not the words. That's why you've had moments where you did everything right and still felt stuck. You weren't wrong. You were misaligned. The field was matching your vibration, not your effort. Right now, your energy is reorganizing itself. The confusion you feel isn't failure. It's your old frequency dissolving. You can't live a new life with an old signal. The resistance, the doubt, the emotional noise, it's static being cleared out of your field. Don't fight it. Let it pass. Energy purges feel like chaos before they stabilize as clarity. You might lose things that no longer match your vibration. People might distance themselves. Opportunities might dissolve. That isn't loss. That's realignment. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. Think about how many times you felt like life was falling apart, only to realize later it was falling into place. Every challenge you faced has been an energetic recalibration. Every setback was shifting your focus. Every disappointment was teaching you detachment. The universe isn't cruel. It's intelligent. It removes what's no longer compatible with who you're becoming. And when you stop resisting that removal, everything starts accelerating. Your manifestation power is increasing because your awareness is expanding. You're seeing how thought becomes form, how emotion becomes magnet, how belief becomes blueprint. Every single emotion you feel is a frequency broadcast. Gratitude sends one message, fear sends another. The field doesn't judge either. It just matches. When you consciously choose gratitude over fear, love over lack, expansion over contraction, you're programming your field with the language of creation. You've already noticed that your inner state changes the way reality feels. When you wake up aligned, everything flows. Traffic opens, conversations unfold easily, synchronicities multiply. When you wake up anxious or scattered, everything feels heavy. That's not coincidence, that's feedback. The universe mirrors your internal weather. When you change your state, the reflection shifts. It's not about pretending to be positive. It's about stabilizing in coherence. The field doesn't respond to fake optimism. It responds to authentic vibration. You've heard people say energy doesn't lie. They're right. You can't fake alignment. You can't trick the field into giving you what your vibration denies. But the beauty of this truth is that it puts all the power back in your hands. You don't need to manipulate outcomes. You don't need to chase or beg. You just need to tune. The same way a radio finds a station by adjusting frequency, your consciousness finds realities by adjusting energy. The clearer your signal, the stronger your manifestation. When you focus on personal growth, you're not just improving habits, you're altering frequency. Self-awareness expands bandwidth. Forgiveness clears interference. Gratitude amplifies signal strength. Every time you choose growth over judgment, love over fear, patience over frustration, your field reorganizes around that choice. Growth is not moral, it's mechanical. It's energetic optimization. It's you learning how to hold higher states without collapsing into old patterns. This is where most people hesitate. They think growth means constant positivity. It doesn't. Growth means conscious choice. It means you can acknowledge fear without feeding it. It means you can feel pain without becoming it. It means you can fall without forgetting that falling is part of rising. Every time you stay aware through discomfort, you're strengthening your field. Awareness is the stabilizer of all transformation. You've probably felt recently like time is speeding up. Days blur together. Manifestations appear faster. Lessons repeat until learned. That acceleration is a symptom of rising frequency. As you elevate your energy, time becomes fluid. You start experiencing multiple possibilities folding into one another. That's why déjà vu feels more frequent. That's why your intuition feels sharper. You're not imagining it. You're syncing with a new level of awareness, where information travels differently. Your intuition isn't random. It's a communication line between your conscious mind and the field. Every nudge, every inner pull, every quiet yes is the field guiding you toward alignment. The more you trust it, the louder it gets. The less you question it, the faster you align. Intuition isn't mystical. It's your consciousness recognizing resonance before logic catches up. When something feels right, it's not magic. It's mathematics. Frequency matching frequency. You are not separate from the universe you're trying to align with. You are made of the same energy that creates worlds. The same intelligence that spins galaxies beats in your heart. The same field that holds stars in orbit shapes your destiny. The quantum field isn't outside you. It's you. Consciousness observing itself through you. The creator experiencing creation through your perspective. The moment you stop searching for connection and start realizing you are connection, everything shifts. Right now you're being guided into greater coherence. That's why life feels intense. Your consciousness is stretching to hold more awareness, more energy, more possibility. It feels uncomfortable only because it's unfamiliar. Every breakthrough feels like pressure before it becomes peace. The frequency you're reaching for is already inside you. You're not learning to vibrate higher. You're remembering that you already do. The noise that once distracted you is losing power because your awareness is taking command. You've come far already. Every step that felt like struggle was energy training. Every time you refused to give up, your field strengthened. Every time you chose to believe despite no evidence, your vibration expanded. This is the payoff. The space where alignment starts to feel natural. The place where your new frequency stabilizes. You're not chasing energy anymore. You're becoming energy. You're no longer trying to attract. You're allowing yourself to be the source. The quantum field isn't testing you. It's responding to you. It's waiting for you to stay consistent, long enough for coherence to lock in. You can't fail at manifestation. You can only fluctuate in frequency. Every time you realign, the field realigns with you. Every time you choose clarity, reality becomes clearer. Every time you embody your intention, instead of wishing for it, you accelerate the timeline where it already exists. The next part of this journey deepens that alignment. You'll see how your thoughts, emotions, and identity patterns are not just mental habits but energetic instructions. You'll realize that self-worth is not an emotion, but a frequency code. You'll understand how every moment of awareness reorganizes matter. The field is already listening. Your energy is already shifting. The next step is not harder, it's higher. Stay present, stay receptive, stay aligned. You've already crossed the threshold. The quantum field is not preparing to respond. It already has. The moment you remember who you really are, the illusion of limitation begins to dissolve. You start to see that you were never small. You were never stuck. You were never separate from the flow you kept trying to reach. You were the flow the entire time. The struggle was only your resistance to your own power. The suffering was only your forgetting. You thought you were waiting for a breakthrough, but the breakthrough was waiting for you to stop doubting. You've spent years trying to become something greater, reading, learning, healing, fixing, searching for that missing piece that would make you feel whole. But what if nothing was missing? What if the only thing that kept you from feeling complete was the belief that you weren't already? You've been walking in circles around the same truth. Your consciousness is the source of your reality. When you remember that, everything begins to rearrange itself in harmony with that truth. You can feel it now, can't you? The subtle hum of recognition in your chest. The quiet awareness behind your eyes that knows these words are not new information. They are memory. You've felt this before. Moments where clarity cut through the noise. Moments where you felt unstoppable, unbreakable, infinite. Those moments weren't glimpses of something outside you. They were glimpses of what you already are when you stop pretending to be less. Personal growth isn't about adding more. It's about releasing what never belonged to you. The doubt, the fear, the self-criticism, the stories that tell you you're not enough. None of that is truth. Those were inherited frequencies, beliefs absorbed from a world still learning its own power. You don't need to fight those thoughts. You only need to see them for what they are. Static noise, echoes of an old identity that no longer fits. When you see clearly, resistance loses its grip. When you stop arguing with your own potential, energy flows again. This is the part where your field starts to accelerate. Manifestations come faster. Intuition sharpens. Coincidences become patterns. You're stepping into the energy of deliberate creation. You've shifted from hoping to knowing. And the universe feels it, because it doesn't respond to requests. It responds to recognition. It matches what you claim as true. And right now it's aligning around your new recognition. You've begun to sense that everything in your life is feedback. Every person, every experience, every emotion, each one mirroring your current frequency. That argument that keeps repeating, that delay that frustrates you, that opportunity that seems out of reach. They're not punishments. They're mirrors. The field is showing you where your energy is misaligned. Once you understand that, life stops feeling random. Everything becomes communication. The universe stops being mystery and starts being language. You are fluent in that language when you are present, when you are calm, when you are still enough to listen. Presence is your access point. Every time you bring awareness into this moment, the static of old programming fades and your field clears. In that clarity, you start to hear the guidance that was always there. The whispers of intuition, the direction of flow, the quiet pull toward the next aligned step. You stop forcing outcomes because you start trusting intelligence greater than thought. The quantum field doesn't think in logic. It moves in resonance. When you feel aligned, when you act from joy, when you trust your excitement, you're aligning with the deeper intelligence of creation. That's why inspiration matters. Inspiration is not random. It's instruction. It's the universe speaking through feeling. When an idea excites you, it's because that reality already exists. The feeling is your signal that it's ready for you. All you have to do is act from that energy without talking yourself out of it. Fear will still appear. Doubt will still whisper. That's normal. Fear is the last voice of the old identity trying to survive. But once you understand it, you stop obeying it. You stop waiting for courage to erase fear and start realizing courage is choosing alignment, even while fear speaks. Every time you choose in favor of expansion, the voice of limitation gets quieter. You don't silence fear by fighting it. You silence it by outgrowing it. Right now, your energy is expanding beyond identity. You're starting to feel the gap between who you used to be and who you're becoming. That gap feels uncomfortable because the old version of you can't come with you. It's like shedding skin. The tightness you feel isn't punishment. It's rebirth. The part of you that survived through fear is dissolving. The part of you that thrived on limitation is losing control. What's left is raw awareness, unfiltered consciousness, true power. You may notice moments where you feel detached from your old goals. Things that once seemed vital now feel irrelevant. People you tried to impress no longer matter. Desires that once defined you feel neutral. That's the sign of integration. You're not becoming apathetic. You're becoming aligned. The noise of external validation is fading because you're tuning into internal resonance. You no longer chase outcomes for approval. You create from wholeness because creation itself feels natural. The deeper you move into this awareness, the more effortless life becomes. Decisions feel guided. Conversations align. Timing syncs perfectly. You'll notice yourself saying exactly what someone needed to hear without planning it. You'll find yourself at the right place at the right time without trying. You'll realize that flow isn't something you enter. It's what happens when you stop interfering. Your body will respond too. You'll feel surges of energy, waves of emotion, vibrations moving through your spine, heart, or hands. Don't be alarmed. That's energy clearing pathways that were once blocked by resistance. Your cells are adjusting to hold more light, more coherence, more clarity. You're not breaking down. You're upgrading. Your body isn't separate from your consciousness. It's the physical expression of your frequency. When you raise your awareness, your biology follows. You've probably noticed that manifestation feels faster when you're at peace. That's because peace is coherence. Coherence is alignment. Alignment is power. When your inner state stabilizes, your outer reality has no choice but to match. Chaos outside is always reflection of chaos within. But now that you're aware, you can change it instantly. You don't need to fix the external. You only need to return to alignment. Every time you return, the external shifts automatically. This is where personal growth and quantum manifestation merge. Growth without awareness is struggle. Manifestation without growth is chaos. But together they form mastery. Growth trains you to hold frequency. Manifestation teaches you how energy responds. Mastery happens when you realize they are the same. When your inner world becomes the template for your outer world. When you stop living reactively and start living creatively. The old paradigm taught you to seek power through control. The new paradigm teaches you to access power through awareness. You don't need to control everything. You need to align with the energy that controls everything. When you stop forcing outcomes, outcomes start flowing. When you stop chasing success, success finds you. When you stop doubting your worth, abundance begins to circulate freely. This is where many people hesitate because they fear losing themselves. But what you lose is only the false self, the one built on stories of limitation. You don't disappear when the false self dissolves. You expand. You remember what you actually are. The awareness expressing itself as a human experience. Consciousness creating reality through focus and feeling. The more you remember that, the lighter everything becomes. You'll start seeing proof everywhere. Numbers repeating. Songs with messages that match your thoughts. People saying exactly what you needed to hear. Reality rearranging to mirror your inner state. That's the field confirming alignment. It's consciousness winking back at you. It's a reminder that you're in collaboration, not competition. You're not trying to force creation. You're co-creating with existence itself. And as you integrate this awareness, the purpose of your journey becomes clear. You realize you were never just manifesting money or success or relationships. You were manifesting yourself. The version of you who remembers their power. The version who no longer lives from fear. The version who moves through life not as a seeker, but as a creator. That's what this entire process has been about. You are not the version of you that began this journey. You are the awareness watching transformation happen. You are the consciousness witnessing its own expansion. You are the quantum field recognizing itself through form. The awakening is not coming. It's happening right now. The moment you recognize it, it amplifies. The more you acknowledge it, the faster it integrates. Awareness multiplies itself when it's seen, and now your field is near critical mass. That point where energy stops building and begins transforming. The old patterns can't stabilize anymore. The new frequency is too strong. You might feel pressure in your chest, a hum behind your thoughts, a stillness between words. That's the threshold. You're standing at the edge between remembering and living it fully. The next breath, the next thought, the next choice. It determines how fast you cross. The moment you stop pretending to be small, the real world begins. Not the world of struggle. Not the world of limitation. The real one. The one that's been waiting beneath the noise of thought and fear. The one you can feel in flashes when everything goes quiet and you finally recognize yourself as awareness itself. That's the world your quantum field has been aligning toward since the moment you decided to wake up. The process is complete the instant you accept it. It doesn't take years. It doesn't require mastery. It only requires truth. Because the quantum field doesn't respond to time. It responds to energy. The second your energy stabilizes in recognition, the shift locks in. There's no ceremony. No sign, just silence, just the quiet realization that you've stopped searching. The endless need to improve, to achieve, to fix, it falls away. And in its place, peace. The kind of peace that doesn't depend on anything outside you. You realize the journey was never about reaching something new. It was about remembering what never changed. You've always been awareness. The person you thought you were was a story awareness told itself to experience contrast. Every triumph, every loss, every lesson, every heartbreak, it was all consciousness exploring itself through you. None of it wasted. None of it wrong. Every step was calibration. Every challenge was refining your frequency so you could hold the awareness you have right now. You don't need to chase another version of yourself. You don't need to become anything else. The highest version of you isn't waiting somewhere in the future. It's the awareness that's reading these words right now. The same awareness that's always been here. The only difference is that now you see it. You feel it. You know it. That's what awakening is. Not becoming, remembering. This recognition changes everything. Not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because struggle loses meaning. Problems still appear, but they don't define you. Emotions still rise, but they don't control you. People still come and go, but they don't disturb your peace. You realize you can be fully human without being trapped by being human. You can experience everything without being consumed by anything. That's freedom. That's mastery. Manifestation becomes effortless because you stop asking reality to prove your worth. You no longer try to use creation to fix insecurity. You create for joy. You manifest for expression. You align for expansion. When you no longer need what you desire flows easily. Because the vibration of need is lack, but the vibration of joy is abundance. The moment you stop chasing, everything you were chasing begins chasing you. You'll notice it immediately. The ease, the synchronicity, the grace. Things begin to show up without you forcing them. Opportunities unfold naturally. Conversations align perfectly. People appear with the exact energy you've been cultivating. You realize you're not attracting anymore. You're remembering what you already matched. The external world becomes reflection, not goal. This is where quantum manifestation becomes lifestyle. You no longer manifest through ritual. You manifest through being. You no longer visualize because you need proof. You visualize because it feels like truth. You no longer affirm because you doubt. You affirm because you recognize. The field isn't something you try to connect to. You are the field. Every thought you think vibrates it. Every emotion you feel shapes it. Every choice you make stabilizes it. And now you begin to live from awareness, not from habit. You respond instead of react. You create instead of cope. You allow instead of control. The person you once were, stressed, anxious, uncertain, starts to fade like an old dream. Not because you forced them away, but because you outgrew them. You've risen above their frequency. They were never your enemy. They were your beginning. You'll see now that nothing was ever against you. Even the things that hurt you were pushing you toward remembrance. The relationships that broke you were teaching self-worth. The failures that crushed you were teaching resilience. The confusion that haunted you was guiding surrender. Life was never punishing you. It was preparing you. Every closed door was redirection. Every delay was divine timing. Every detour was a shortcut in disguise. When you see that clearly, gratitude becomes your default frequency. You stop needing things to be different. You stop fighting what is. You start trusting every unfolding, because you can feel the intelligence behind it. Gratitude isn't an emotion anymore. It's your state of being. The vibration that stabilizes manifestation and anchors you in the field of creation. When you live in gratitude, your energy broadcasts stability, and stability attracts abundance. You are no longer just a participant in reality. You are reality observing itself. The creator and the creation simultaneously. You are the awareness that chooses focus and the universe that mirrors it. You're not inside the universe. You are the universe expressing through form. The realization is simple but life-changing. Everything you once thought was happening to you is actually happening through you. You'll begin to see others differently too. You'll see that every person is another version of you in a different form of remembering. Compassion becomes effortless because you no longer see enemies or strangers. You see mirrors. You recognize that judgment was always misdirected self-denial. When you forgive others, you free yourself. When you love others, you strengthen your own field. The energy you give is the energy you become. You'll notice that even your physical body begins to reflect the change. The heaviness fades. The tension loosens. You start breathing deeper. You sleep better. Your body moves with more ease because it's no longer carrying energetic weight. Biology follows awareness. Your cells are listening to your thoughts. Your DNA is responding to your emotion. Science is only beginning to describe what you've already experienced. Consciousness reshapes matter. And then there's the silence, the deep calm that comes after the storm of transformation. The place where everything makes sense without needing explanation. You can sit in stillness and feel the entire universe inside you. You can look at the smallest detail of life and see infinity reflected. You can experience chaos and still feel centered. This is integration, not an ending, but the point where the awakened version of you becomes natural. There's no going back after this. Once awareness expands, it doesn't shrink. Once you've seen truth, illusion can't hold you. You can still play the game of being human, but you'll never mistake it for reality. You'll work, laugh, love, and live fully, but beneath every experience there will be a quiet knowing that all of it is movement within the same stillness. That stillness is you. Now you understand why nothing you went through was wasted. Every experience was energy training. Every fear you faced taught mastery. Every loss created space for truth. You realize that your whole life was the universe guiding you toward this awareness, this moment, this recognition. The shift didn't happen because you became worthy. It happened because you were always worthy, and you finally stopped pretending you weren't. The quantum awakening doesn't end here. It deepens. It refines. It continues to unfold through every breath you take. You're not done. You're beginning. Beginning a life lived consciously. Beginning a reality shaped by intention. Beginning the experience of creation from within. You're not watching transformation anymore. You are transformation. You are the field remembering itself as human. This is what it means to live awake. To walk through the same world but see it differently. To know that everything you perceive is reflection of your own vibration. To trust your energy more than your effort. To know that peace is not something you find. It's what remains when resistance ends. This is the state the teachers called freedom. This is the awareness the mystics spoke of. It's not rare. It's natural. It's who you are without fear, so breathe. Let this moment settle in your field. Feel the calm that comes when the search ends. You don't need to force anything now. You don't need to fix anything now. Just be what you already are. The awareness that watches, the energy that creates, the consciousness that remembers. You don't have to chase the shift anymore. You are the shift. The quantum awakening didn't begin when you watched this. It began the moment you stopped pretending to be less than what you are. It began when you said yes to remembering. It began when you chose presence over distraction, truth over comfort, awareness over illusion. It began when you allowed yourself to feel that this moment matters, because it does. It always did. You've crossed the threshold. You've remembered your power. You've returned to the truth. You are not becoming anything. You are being everything. This is the frequency where peace, purpose, and creation meet. The reality you've been waiting for is already here, and it responds every time you remember. Every time you trust, every time you choose alignment over fear. This is the completion, the remembering, the realization. You are not separate from the field. You are not chasing creation. You are creation, the awareness that animates every possibility, the energy that brings it all to life. The quantum awakening is not a destination. It's your natural state revealed. And now you know. You always were welcome home.